Strategically, how do we begin today? Well, I think one of the things that we do is we think about our subjects that we're going to choose. Now, I've put an array of subjects out here that have a pretty neutral palette, but there are also, some of you brought your own subject matter, which is really great. But you want to think about what you're going to put next to this lovely little neutralized yellow vase. And I'm looking at my subjects and I think, okay, this is a gray spool of thread. But what happens when I put it next to the yellow? Is it going to start to look blue-violet? And, you know, I was matching those colors pretty closely, but it was interesting to me how, especially in the highlight of it, maybe because the highlight is warm with these warm studio lights, that it started to take on this appearance of a neutralized blue-violet. But they started talking to each other in a really nice way. And additionally, I wanted a little bit more cool color temperature in the still life, so I created a situation where there would be a cast shadow behind this bottle. And with these warm lights, the cast shadows, as I'm looking around the room, you can tell they're pretty cool, right? So, and then I wanted it even darker. So then I took a gray card, one of those gray cards that you've passed around there, and I stuck it behind there. And I thought, wouldn't it be interesting to see the multiple shadows as they're going across this gray card? You know, shifting in color temperature and value. Maybe it was a little too complicated, but I was intrigued by the idea. And what I didn't anticipate, which really, I think, makes this painting, it's just a little tiny thing, but in terms of color relationships, is what started to show up inside the spool of this thing. Oh, you can see it. Yeah, and I think it has to do with the color, lights shining through this blue and ochre kind of, isn't that interesting? Because you add these two colors together, you're going to get green. It's shining through this paper, through the end of this thing, and it's making a kind of green light bounce around inside of there. And of course, the green with the slight magenta in the highlight there, they're talking to each other too and mutually intensifying each other. So what I also wanted to confess to you is that as I'm mixing these colors, I'm putting them over here and I'm putting them next to each other, sharing edges to see how they look. Do they interact? Do they vibrate? Is it pleasing? Is it exciting? Right? You put analogous hues next to each other, meaning colors that are next to each other on the color wheel, like these are all analogous hues, and they have a calming effect usually. But as soon as you start crossing the wheel, they have a more vibrant or exciting kind of effect. And so I was testing that out right here in terms of their values and colors, and I thought that these lights had an orange tinge to them, and so I was very faithfully reproducing that, and this whole illuminated area, because it's a white shelf and a white wall, was slightly peachy, you know, slightly orange. I tell you, it made an awful painting. It didn't have the right interval with these colors, and there's a remnant of that peachy color, and I painted it down here several times because I thought, I have to find a color that's going to work with this one, and I'm just going to keep mixing colors until I did. But instead of doing that, I said, just get rid of it. Get rid of the peachy color and tint it a little bit more yellow gold, which I did, and I thought it made a much better painting. Okay? See, so I cheated, but it made a better painting. And the more I watch other painters, I sometimes watch videos online of other painters describing their work, especially landscape painters. Man, they rearrange boulders, they change colors, everything is in service of the composition, right? So feel free to really just look at color today, pay attention to that, and create a palette that is vibrant and exciting with the neutralized colors.